Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today's video is a continuation of my previous lecture on congestive cardiac failure. In this video, we will discuss the complications and investigations of congestive cardiac failure. So let's start with the complications. The first complication is renal failure. In the patient of congestive cardiac failure, there is reduced cardiac output. Due to low cardiac output, decreased perfusion to the kidneys. Due to decreased perfusion to the kidneys, it develops the renal failure. And this renal failure is also exaggerated by some drugs which are used in the management of congestive cardiac failure, like angiotensin receptor blocker and angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. The next complication is hypokalemia, that is low levels of potassium, and this low level of potassium is because of the use of some diuretics in the management of congestive cardiac failure, like loop diuretics furosemide and bumetanide, and thiazide diuretics, that is hydrochlorothiazide. The next complication is hyperkalemia, that is increased level of potassium, and this is because of the use of potassium sparing diuretics in the management of congestive cardiac failure, especially the spironolactone or eplerenone. These are aldosterone blockers or aldosterone antagonist, and the use of some angiotensin receptor blockers or angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. The next complication is hyponatremia, that is low levels of sodium. It may be due to because of increased level of ADH. ADH causes water retention, that is vasopressin causes water retention. Due to water retention in the body, there is dilutional hyponatremia, or it may be due to because of the use of loop diuretics or because of the use of thiazide diuretics, which causes the loss of sodium. If the patient of congestive cardiac failure develops this hyponatremia, it shows the worst prognostic factor. This is the very worst prognostic factor in case of congestive cardiac failure. The next complication is impaired liver function. It is more common in the right sided heart failure or biventricular failure because of the congestion of the liver. Due to congestion of liver, the blood biochemistry for the liver is disturbed, that is high levels of ALT and AST, and also some patients develop the jaundice in the patients of congestive cardiac failure. The next complication is thromboembolism, that is the formation of thrombus and which leads to emboli. This is more common in the patients who are bed resting in severe cases of congestive cardiac failure, which leads to deep venous thrombosis and ultimately ends up with the pulmonary embolism. Also, the patients of atrial or ventricular fibrillation or flutter are more prone to the risk of developing the thrombus as well as emboli. The next complication is atrial and ventricular arrhythmias. These atrial and ventricular arrhythmias are common, and these are because of electrolyte imbalance, especially the hypokalemia and hypomagnesemia in patients of congestive cardiac failure, as we have discussed previously. The next complication is very severe. It is fatal. That is sudden cardiac death, and this sudden cardiac death is because of ventricular fibrillation. Now come to the investigations of congestive cardiac failure. Let's start with the blood tests. The first test is CBC, that is complete blood picture or complete blood count. In the CBC, the patient may have anemia because in sometimes anemia is the cause of high output cardiac failure. The next test is UCE, that is urea, creatinine and electrolytes. Sometimes that it is associated with renal failure, as we have discussed previously, that urea and creatinine levels are high in these patients because of renal failure. Liver function test. In the LFTs, the ALT and AST levels are high because liver biochemistry is disturbed because of liver congestion in the patients of congestive cardiac failure. Thyroid profile is also important because, as we have discussed previously, that hyperthyroidism or thyrotoxicosis causes the high output cardiac failure. Sometimes the cardiac enzymes are important because the MI may leads to the congestive cardiac failure. So in order to rule out the acute MI, cardiac enzymes are important like CKMB or troponin I. Now come to the next finding, next investigation, that is chest X-ray. The findings of the chest X-ray are cardiomegaly or enlarged size of the heart and curly B lines. These are basically the interlobular septal thickening lines which are basically present at the periphery of the lungs. These are the horizontal lines which are present at the periphery of the lungs. The next is prominent interstitial markings. These are because of the pulmonary edema, and sometimes in the patients of left-sided heart failure, there is a pleural effusion on the chest X-ray. Pleural effusion is visible on the chest X-ray. The next important finding is cephalization of blood vessel, which means dilated blood vessels are more markedly seen on the apices of the lungs. These are basically the pulmonary blood vessels markings. These are because of increased hydrostatic pressure in the pulmonary vessels. Now come to the next fine investigation, that is electrocardiogram or ECG. It is non-specific investigation, but it is important to find out the underlying cause like arrhythmias or infarction or ischemia or any other findings in the ECG. The most important best initial investigation in case of congestive cardiac failure is echocardiogram, especially the transthoracic echocardiogram. It is nothing but the ultrasound of the heart, like the ultrasound of the abdomen. It is important to differentiate between the systolic dysfunction or the diastolic dysfunction, and it also important for the measurement of the ejection fraction. As we know that in the systolic dysfunction there is reduced ejection fraction, and in the diastolic dysfunction there is normal or preserved ejection fraction. So this is important to check the ejection fraction as well. And it is also important to find the underlying cause, that whether the pathology is in the myocardium or pericardium or the valvular heart disease which is causing the congestive cardiac failure. So this test is very important investigation of choice. The next investigation is BNP levels, that is B type natriuretic peptide. In the congestive cardiac failure there is a overfilling of the ventricles, so pressure overload as well as volume overload causes the release of this BNP from the ventricular muscles. So high levels of BNP suggest the congestive cardiac failure, and this test is very important to differentiate between the dyspnea of cardiac origin or the dyspnea because of the lungs problem like the COPD. So this was whole about the complications and investigations of congestive cardiac failure. We will discuss the management in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video.